We are at the Richmond International Raceway for the second race of the NASCAR playoffs on NASCAR 21 Ignition's career mode. Season 1 is coming down to this. 9 races to go to crowning a champion. Only one driver is advanced into the round of 12. That would be William Byron after winning the opening race to the round of 16 at Darlington in the Southern 500. A short track race here tonight and then a short track race with a live stream tomorrow night will end up deciding who will be the entire 12 driver field heading into Las Vegas later in the week. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're about to get this race underway. 400 laps around this 3/4 mile short track, the action track at the Richmond International Speedway under the lights. And we'll take a look at tonight's starting lineup for today's race. Denny Hamlin will be on the pole. He is a Richmond native trying to win at one of his home tracks. Chase Elliott is going to start outside of the front row in second. Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, row 3. Larson, a former Richmond winner in this very playoff race. Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick will line up in row 3. Martin Truex Jr. has been an absolute stud when it comes to Richmond and Martinsville in the Cup Series in recent years. We'll see if he can pull off the win today. Austin Dillon and William Byron will line up in row 4. Austin Dillon currently above the cutoff line, just shortly below the cutoff line coming into this race, and William Byron again is locked into the next round. Joey Logano and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will round out the top 10 through qualifying today, and our driver Keegan Schneider will be starting at the rear due to no qualifying for the start of today's race. So this is going to be interesting to say the least. Who is going to be the one to get the win here today, and who will advance themselves into the round of 12 along with William Byron. Stability help will be on for this one. Unlike at Darlington, so we don't have those same issues. Green flag is in the air. We are underway. Short track racing on a Tuesday night. Full race highlight edition on the channel. A little bit of contact with Ty Dillon off the start. Nearly 3 wide into the first turn. Schneider's just going to end up letting Ty Dillon and Timmy Hill go. Now he jumps to the inside, making a few passes. On the front stretch, that exit to turn 4, they like to check up a lot, but the 48 is going to be able to take advantage. Schneider won at Richmond earlier this season, though that was a 50% race, so it was only a 200 lapper under the daytime conditions. This is at nighttime, and it is an extra 200 laps compared to that first race this season. But boy, he is already hustling inside the top 30, and it only took him 2 complete laps. Man on a mission right now. The only time he's willing to take it 3 wide is when they get to the tri-oval. And everybody else checks up, and he's able to take the run on the bottom, and he'll go side by side into turn 1 underneath Brad Keselowski in the 2. We'll bump to the back of the 14 of Chase Briscoe. Briscoe's going to be able to clear Ryan Newman into turn 3, potentially. And he does. He blocks Newman, slides up in front of him off of turn 4. The 48 moves up in front of the 14 and out to the inside of Daniel Suarez. And now we'll drive it in deep into turn 1 to get to the inside of Benedetto. Schneider is inside the top 20. It took 5 laps. This is likely going to be a very dominating performance, much like his race at Richmond earlier this season, as long as he stays out of trouble. And if we get any cautions like we did earlier this season at this track, if there's no major issues in him going a lap down because of it. We did have 2 cautions in that 200 lap race earlier this year. Schneider on the inside of the 1 of Kurt Busch. Kyle Busch nearly clips the right rear corner panel of the 48. Has to clip that apron a little bit in turns 3 and 4 just because the AI do. Otherwise, he's going to get crowded and contact will be made. Up to 11th place, sliding up in front of Tyler Reddick. Both the RCR cars are below the cutoff line coming into today's race, despite both of them making the playoffs to begin with of Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick. Reddick didn't have a win this season. Dillon did, so a little bit more playoff points for Austin Dillon. And Schneider comes into this race 22 points above the cutoff line. So if he does not win, he will not be a lock for the next round, even with a solid points day going into Bristol for the night race. And anything can happen there. Sends it. He gets into Ryan Blaney's left rear. A little bump and run to the 12. Couldn't clear him, though. He just gets to the inside. Make the pass off of turn 4, likely, with the checkup. And now he drives to the inside of his teammate Kyle Larson for 4th place. He'll clear him into turn 1, outbraking Larson. Denny Hamlin still in the lead. Has likely led all 10 laps so far. But this 48 definitely seems to have the fastest car in the early going of tonight's race. This could definitely be the difference maker. Making the pass of Mark Truex Jr. Slides into his teammate Chase Elliott now with a little bump and run. Clear off of turn 2. Second time he's gotten into somebody since moving inside the top 10. Overdriving the corner a bit at the start-finish line that time around. I think Denny Hamlin led that last lap. It wasn't by much if he did. Schneider drives it deep into turns 1 and 2. He is clear off the exit of turn 2. And the 48 car leads at Richmond. Hamlin drives it deep into turn 3, trying to get back to Schneider. Not going to be able to do it. Schneider slides off the exit of turn 4 to lead his first lap of the race at lap 15. And that did not take long to go from the rear to the front. And he is looking to set sail in this one as he enters lap traffic for the first time now. Scheduled to be a 3-stop race today. We know that these drivers could go just over 100 laps on fuel. Could potentially be a risky situation to short pit. We'll see how all that's going to end up playing out a little bit later on in the race. Schneider slides into the 38 of Anthony Alfredo a little bit as well. Drives right on by. Now we're in the early going of the race, but let's alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in today's race. Get even better sense of the speed out of this 48 car. This will be Schneider's 9th win of the season if he could get it done today. Again, he is a rookie this year. He's already clinched the Rookie of the Year, being the only rookie in the playoffs this season. Chase Briscoe was unable to make it, as well as Anthony Alfredo. Those were the only 2 contending rookies for the Rookie of the Year. It'll be interesting to see what the rookie class is going to look like next season. And the reason why I say that is because there are driver lineup changes in the off-season in the career mode in this game. Obviously, we haven't gotten to our first off-season yet, so we're not sure exactly what that's going to look like as Schneider drives into the left rear of Chase Briscoe. Clear off the exit of turn 2. Schneider's just going so fast that he can't check up in time for these lap cars at the back of the field, or the back half of the field. That's why he's made contact with both Alfredo and Briscoe, who we actually just talked about as rookies, fellow rookies, over the last couple of laps. Didn't qualify to try and make it a little bit harder on himself. He's going to have to take it easy a little bit, though. He's got such a fast car. He knows he's going to win this race as long as the scoring glitches don't happen. Even if they do, he's got the speed to be able to lap the field leading up to that anyway. Contact with Daniel Suarez. More contact with him. Jeez, kind of got stuck and Stuck out him like glue. He made the contact the first time around.
On the outside, you're 3. Got one right.
Ryan Blaney in 11th place. He was in 6th the last time we saw him. That was after Schneider had passed him for 5th place. So the 12 not getting through the lap traffic very well in the early going. Dives underneath of Austin Dillon. Dillon having a good top 10 run early on. He needs a run like that today if he's going to want to make it into the round of 12. Obviously, he's going to have to back that up with a solid run at Bristol as well. Maybe hope for a little bit of help ahead of him. With Tyler Reddick below the cutoff line also having a good run. In fact, a little bit better of a run in the early going. Reddick in 8th, Dillon in 10th. That could even be hurting him. We'll see if both of those RCR drivers can make it into the next round, but it's going to be very difficult. Not impossible. Again, if they can get some DNFs ahead of him from the right drivers, that could definitely help. Here's Larson. He's back to 7th place, so the longer run speed not helping the 5 and the 12, it seems like. Larson, the regular season champion, actually at a more comfortable position in points than the 48. 48 dropped back a couple spots after that last place DNF finish at Darlington. He had 35 points on the cutoff line. Now he's only got 22 points above the cutoff line, so he lost 13 points on the cutoff line, finishing dead last in the Southern 500 at Darlington. He was very fortunate that there were quite a few playoff drivers that finished outside the top 10. In fact, only 4 of them finished inside the top 10. 3 of which were 1 through 3. Byron getting the win, Truex, of course, and then Larson moving all ahead of the 48 in points. Byron on to the next round, of course. There's Mark Truex Jr. in 6th. A lot of positions up for grabs in front of him, though. Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin stuck on the outside. Joey Logano, in fact, is all the way up to 2nd place now. Schneider drives it deep into the corner. Gets into the side of Logano. Drives by him. And Schneider has lapped the field in the first 32 laps, and that's after starting last. I don't know why the AI are so slow here on champion difficulty. And then, for those of you wondering, well, why don't you just move it to expert? Well, that's because if I move it to expert, I want it to be on expert the entire season. And if that is the case, we're likely never going to win a race that's an oval. Except for a potential super speedway. Which would mean the playoffs, there's only one road course, one super speedway. We get into the round of 8. We're not going to have good finishes, and I can guarantee you every year we're probably going to get eliminated in the round of 8, or if we have enough playoff points, we might be able to make it to the championship 4. But if we do make it to the championship 4, then we're probably going to be out of luck in winning the championship there as well. Phoenix is kind of the same way as Richmond in this game, though, too, with the champion difficulty. So I think I'm going to move for the championship race if we make it, obviously, because we've still got to get through the round of 12 and the round of 8. You never know what could happen, especially with the bad luck I've had on super speedways in this game. I've not won one on the career mode. In fact, the DNF in each of the 3 super speedway races so far this season. Made it a little bit past halfway, though, in the last one at Daytona, so maybe better luck will be on the side at Talladega. And Schneider still finished in the top 10 at Talladega. He finished 9th despite DNFing because only 8 cars finished earlier this season.
Car right. Clear all around. Clear all around.
Schneider is 3 wide. He's going to send it into turn 3, making sure he was going to clear Justin Haley and Chris Buescher flatlined it into the corner as well to try and help do so. We'll be 40 laps in at the start-finish line this time, and it has been utter dominance from Keegan Schneider in the early going of tonight's race. Schneider just hauls past Kurt Busch and Quinn Hell. A lot of heavy lap traffic coming up in front of the 48 now. But honestly, as fast as he is, it's probably going to be no problem as you see him just blowing past a bunch of cars already. He'll file in line behind Larson into turn 1. Not sure why it's smoking out of the right front, but it does that on this game from time to time. For whatever reason. Larson back to 9th. He's still going backwards. Richmond probably his best short track, that in Bristol. Just like that, Schneider gets through everything. Lap 42, we'll take a little break in the action. We'll come back before the first green flag stops of the day. Lap 106 at the start-finish line. Green flag pit stops are just now starting for the first time with 295 laps to go at the Richmond Raceway. Chris Buescher and a couple other drivers just hit the pit lane that last lap. Schneider's going to stay out as long as he possibly can. He hasn't gotten a word from his crew chief yet about the fuel situation, so he's going to run it a little bit longer. These guys basically splitting it about as evenly as they possibly can into 3 stops. We'll see if we get any cautions. Top 3 before the pit stop started. Schneider in the lead, Denny Hamlin second, Chase Elliott third, and now we have a caution for the first time today. So Schneider will pit under the yellow. Looked like he was able to lap Denny Hamlin another time right before the caution had come out. No adjustments, 4 tires and fuel coming up for the 48, so lap 107 will be our first caution of the race today. In the middle of green flag stops, and that is why the 48 stayed out as long as he could. Going to give him another lap on the field. Now, we may lose a lap here. Who knows? We don't really know if we're going to lose a lap or 2 or if the rest of the field will lose a lap or 2. It really randomizes. But Schneider will still get to restart from the race lead. Green flag is back in the air at Richmond. Lap 113. Big stack up getting into turn 1. Denny Hamlin very slow on the restart. Oh, and he moves up into the side of the 48. He's into the inside wall now into the 3rd turn. And I wonder if he might have hit the back of somebody going into turn 1. Heavy damage for Denny Hamlin and major playoff implications there for the 11. He's back onto pit road once again just after the restart. Again, heavy damage, and I wonder if he might have been involved in the caution. And they have to repair more damage on that race car under green flag conditions. He was in 2nd place. He led the first dozen or so laps of the race today. Hasn't led since, and now caution's out for the 2nd time. So our 2nd caution of the race will fly here at Richmond just a few laps after the restart. Schneider will stay out of the pits. Green flag back in the air once again. I don't know why he didn't give me the good to go signal until far enough after the start-finish line, and we'll see if we get any more cautions coming up here. Cautions could be breeding cautions all of a sudden. Martin Truex Jr. is in second place on this restart. These guys shouldn't be on the same lap. I lapped the field probably 3 times before we got to the first pit stop. So, and then we lapped them again because they pitted under the yellow before us. Some of them did. I don't know if Truex did or not. I definitely saw Chase Elliott pit. He was in third. Just saw him pop up on the screen. It looks like Elliott's in fourth place now. Denny Hamlin again in the pit lane, and this is problematic right here for Denny Hamlin in the 11. I wonder if he's going to be pitting the rest of this race today. After the yellows. If he has a bad finish, that could put him in a hole going into Bristol. He's a great short track racer. He had a great start to the night. First 100 laps went smoothly. Since then, though, not so much. You can see Hamlin made his way out of the pit lane. No cautions this time around as he cycles back out on the racetrack where he's at. Back at the 25th position, multiple laps down. And he's going to have a tough road ahead here. We're closing in on the halfway mark at about 75 laps. Quick laps, I should say, with this being a short track. Again, very problematic for Denny Hamlin. Have to see if any of that damage got fixed on the 11 when the 48 drives back up to him again. A lot of heavy lap traffic at the back of the pack already. The 48 is closing in on that far after the restart. He's got a good run on Hamlin down the backstretch, and Hamlin still got a ton of damage to the front of the 11. Really pinches the 48 off, driving it deep himself into turns 3 and 4. Getting back to the gas, Schneider beats him and clears him at the start-finish line to put Hamlin yet another lap down. Oh boy, 3x3 into turn 1. Ryan Blaney making a gutsy move on the inside. Schneider trying to make some moves his own. Now we'll just be side by side into turn 3. He doesn't want to be 3 wide into this corner. Been 3 wide in 1 and 2 every now and then throughout the course of the race today. A little bit easier to do it there. And there we go. So he's just going to roar on by. Slides the tires into turn 1, barely keeping it off of Alfredo, and drives by. Logano back to 7th. He was in the top 3 for a long time today. Must have pitted right before the caution as well. Larson, who fell back to, as far as 9th, is back to 6th. Blaney, I still think, is outside the top 10 after running as high as 5th early in the race. And Tyler Reddick was up in 7th place at one point. Now he's back to 15th. Austin Dillon, last I saw, he was in 15th right before the caution flag. Contact between the Hendrick teammates. Larson and Schneider, second time these two have gotten together today. Heard you called me clear like 18 million times in a row. Exaggeration, of course. I think he did say it 6 times in a row, though. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, see what I mean? I swear he wasn't doing this before the caution. Oh my gosh. He's talking a bunch all of a sudden. Martin Truex Jr. coming into the pit lane from 2nd place. That will give Chase Elliott 2nd place now at lap 155. So Hendrick Motorsports running 1-2 at the front of the field. That is very interesting, to say the least. And speaking of Chase Elliott, he's about to go another lap down here. Very shocked Truex pit. That's the second Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota now to have an unscheduled green flag pit stop during this current green flag run. You almost just kind of got to hope for the best for those guys on point situations. Now, I know Denny Hamlin is in a much more uncomfortable situation as far as points coming into the race. And now another Toyota's in the pits, Bubba Wallace. He's not in the playoffs like Truex and Hamlin, but something is going up with the Toyotas here, and you wonder about Kyle Busch, another playoff driver, Christopher Bell, another playoff driver, if they're going to be pitting anytime soon. Hamlin's worked himself back to 21st. Still has a way to go. 3 wide into turns 1 and 2. Schneider making a couple passes. A few passes. Blaney is back into 7th, by the way. Another playoff driver just hit pit road. Austin Dillon unscheduled pit stop, and he's back to 25th now. Third playoff driver to make an unscheduled stop in the middle of this current green flag run since the restart just after lap 120. Green flag pit stops just starting here at the Richmond Raceway. Playoff drivers Kevin Harvick, Ryan Blaney now in the pits. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson pit a lap ago. Lap 224 at the line. Remember, the field had received its first caution of the race in the middle of the first green flag stops of the day. Then everybody else pit during the caution. Then we ended up having a caution a few laps after the restart. Nobody pit during that yellow. And we've seen some unscheduled stops from some playoff drivers today. Austin Dillon, Mark Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin so far. Definitely going to have to make sure everybody gets those lug nuts on tight. So that's not an issue this time around. The crew chief just stating to race leader Keegan Schneider that he's only got a few more laps he could go on fuel. Schneider going to stay out a couple more laps until he ends up hitting pit road, as he's got some drivers on fresh tires pulling in behind him. Matt DiBenedetto will blow by him there. Schneider just seeing if we're going to end up getting another yellow, though. Only had cautions in the middle of green flag pit stops and right after a restart at Richmond this season. Oh no! Timmy Hill pulls into the 48. Schneider trying to get into the pits now before the caution waves. And he does. 4 tires and fuel coming up for the 48 of Schneider after contact with Timmy Hill as we continue to stay green. Timmy Hill was trying to hit the pit. Schneider was going to stay out another lap or two, but he decides to pit at the last second after Hill pulled down on top of him trying to get into the pit lane. So damage to the 48. They'll try to repair that, but no further adjustments will be made during this first pit stop. You can see some of the damage around the right front of the race car. Hopefully it's not too much. Doesn't look that bad as we continue to stay green. Lap 227 is the green flag stop for Schneider, so he can probably go just past lap 230, close to lap 240 before, or 330 to 340 before he would end up having to make that final stop of the day. Obviously, if you get a caution, right around lap 300, he can make it on fuel from there. So that's pretty much what he's looking at. As so far we continue to stay green. Making his way out of the pit lane. And caution's out. For the third time today, the yellow flag is out, and it was after Schneider pit. Hopefully he doesn't lose too many laps on the field. Looks like he's still got the lead as they come to the restart zone. Green flag back in the air at Richmond. Denny Hamlin back to 39th, and I'm wondering if Denny might have brought out the yellow again, and now he is perhaps DNF'd. Be a terrible break for the 11 to only get 1 point in today's race. Schneider only had about 1 lap on his tires before staying out of the pits there. Pulling away from the field behind him, Kyle Busch back at 20th. He's been outside the top 15 pretty much all night long. That'd be disappointing for him. Kyle Larson is now outside the top 10. Or I believe the first time today. Byron up to 5th. He's trying to win the first 2 races of the round. And what has been a Hendrick Motorsports dominating season so far. They're looking to win the first 2 races of the playoffs. They got a good shot. Chase Elliott's been in the top 5 all day. Byron now in the top 5 now. Larson no longer in the top 10. But Schneider does still lead and has led all but the first 13 laps of the race. Going to add on to that laps led count marker for the season, and depending on if he can lead it all at Bristol next race, we could see him lead 1,400 to 1,500 laps already this season. Look at how quickly he is closing in on the back of the lap traffic. It's amazing. Big stack up down the back straightaway into turn 3. Stenhouse Jr. back to 13th. He was running in the 14th position earlier, or sorry, in the 4th position as high as he has been in this race earlier on. So he must not have been on the good side of that last caution. Contact. Back in the 62 now. Brendan Gaughan. Schneider trying to get by on the outside of Logano. Finally gets down to the bottom into 3 on Bubba Wallace and makes the clear, clean pass there. Wallace has now rallied back inside the top 10 after making an unscheduled pit stop earlier. Martin Truex Jr., who made an unscheduled stop, is now back up to 2nd, so he has rallied to run right back to where he was beforehand. So that's good for him as he's about to lose another lap to the 48. It looks like he didn't have a great restart, probably restarted back in traffic for whatever reason that the game has randomized orders on the restart. That was something they said they fixed under the last patch. There's a lot of things they said that they have fixed or that they have worked on in the last patch that aren't actually fixed in this game. That being one of them. Harvick is 3rd, Elliott is 4th, and then Byron is 5th, so that's the top 5 with Schneider in the lead. We will alternate through the different camera angles for the final time of today's race at lap 269. Keegan Schneider continues to lead at the Richmond Raceway. Deep down to the bottom to make the 3-wide pass. About all 4 tires below the apron underneath Justin Haley and Anthony Alfredo that time around.
Car right. 3 wide, 2 outside. Clear, clear. 3 wide, got 2 up top.
Kyle Larson is back inside the top 10 and has driven his way up to 8th since the most recent restart. Again, still sitting at 3 cautions on the race today. I don't think we're going to be done considering we have had 2 sets of green flag pit stops so far. And we still have 1 more yet to go. Window not quite open to the end of the race yet. Schneider likely going to just stay out as long as he possibly can. He may consider short pitting just to get the stop out of the way. I don't think that would be a terrible decision to make considering how big of a lead he's got. I would have to imagine he's got multiple laps in the field. Basically just going to run his own race from here on out. No reason not to when you have this fast of a race car as well.
2 on the outside, you're 3. 2 on the outside, you're 3. 2 on the outside, you're 3.
William Byron up to 4th place. He gains one more spot, which I believe would be Kevin Harvick in 3rd. And we'll have Hendrick Motorsports running 1, 2, 3. And the fact that Larson's back into 7th place as well. Could we potentially have a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish for Hendrick Motorsports like they did in real life at Dover back in the actual NASCAR Cup Series season?
Car right. Clear, clear, clear.
Speaking of Harvick, there he is in 3rd. Blaney to the outside.
3 wide, you got 2 up top.
Took it 3 wide there for a brief moment.
Clear, clear.
Blaney still on the outside, trying to use Alfredo as a pick on the bottom. Usually you see drivers try to use picks with the car on the outside and not the inside. Blaney doing it an unorthodox way there. Not battling for position with either Alfredo or Harvick either. Schneider also just brushed the wall as he saw turn 4 a lap ago. Just got back in the gas a bit too soon. Easy to do as the run gets a little bit longer. Chase Elliott up to 2nd.
Stay left. Clear all around.
Kelly Blue Book number 9 car. Pass is made once again though for the 48.
Car right. 3 wide, 2 outside. Clear all around. Clear all around. Stay left.
Schneider sends it to the inside of the 14.
Clear, clear, clear.
Chase Briscoe as he just roars through turns 1 and 2, and he's closing in on Truex, is back to 5th. And stuck behind a couple slower cars, it looks like, of
Stay left.
James Davison and Daniel Suarez. Schneider passes all 3 of them that time through 3 and 4. Suarez up to 13. Pretty solid run for Trackhouse, especially on a short track. Chris Larson's back to 8th place again. He was up to 7th.
Clear, clear, clear. Clear, clear, clear. Got 1 right.
Ooh, contact.
Clear all around.
Ty Dillon. Dillon almost got it in the wall after crowding the 48. Seemed like he clipped that right rear corner panel. Luckily, the 48 drives on. Ooh, McDowell crowds the 38 of Alfredo and nearly turns his teammate of all drivers. Turns 1 and 2. Schneider going to get by him quickly down the backstretch. And we'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of this race now as we approach lap 289.
Stay left. Clear,
Keep
clear,
things
clear.
going until that final stop for the 48, as well as a potential caution, whatever ends up coming first. Oh, another car crashed on the inside of the racetrack entering the pit lane. That was Daniel Suarez in the 99, who was in 13th. Has hit the front entrance of the pit road wall, a tire barrier, or the barrels, I should say, at the front of the pit road entrance, but we continue to stay green, no yellow. He's not sitting there anymore and has gotten corrected and has made his way into the pits. That was probably a pretty violent hit for Daniel Suarez. And decent day gone bad in a hurry. Contact as Briscoe quickly tries to get to the outside. The Rick Ware 53 car of Joey Gase. Schneider still underneath him as they split by. Briscoe chopping off the 48 now. Schneider beats him back to the gas. Use the other Rick Ware car of Cody Ware as a pick to get by. Lap 310, Schneider will come into the pits for his final stop of the day, so he will short pit after all. Sliding the tires there to the front of the pit road entrance. 4 tires and fuel for the 48. No adjustments this time around. He'll have 90 laps to go after he will exit the pit lane momentarily. Some damage on the front of the car still from that contact for Timmy Hill to go to repairs on. It means they've got a pretty gigantic lead. Just to take safety precautions here under this final stop. At lap 332 down the backstretch, heading into turn number 3 out of 400. And currently in the middle of green flag pit stops once again. Schneider had pit about 20 laps ago, but wanted to pit, get that stop out of the way. He's got a big enough lead even on older tires by about 20 laps versus everybody else. We did a couple restarts. He feels fine having at least a few lap lead. I would not be surprised if we won by more than 10 laps. I'm just going to throw that out there now. This has been an absolutely dominating race so far from the 48 team. And we'll see if they can just keep it going. Because right now, I think we just kind of came to expect this, or at least I came to expect this coming into today's race. If you watch that first Richmond race this season, or any of the 2 Richmond races that were ran on the custom schedule season on NASCAR 21 edition, when we ran as Christopher Bell for that season, that we dominated Richmond. And that is the case again here today. And this is probably going to be a common theme of the career mode going forward, is anytime we go to Richmond, we're likely going to end up dominating the race. But that is nice to have, knowing that is one race in the regular season that you can dominate, go out and win no matter how bad you are. As long as you get top 30 in points, you're going to make the playoffs because of it. And then also, it's the first race of the playoffs, so it's almost like a guaranteed lock into the round of 12 of the playoffs for the 48. As long as you make it into the playoffs to begin with. It'll be 5 more playoff points going into the next round. It's 10 playoff points total for the entire season going into the round of 12 just from those 2 races alone. So it is a nice little buffer to have going forward. I would have to imagine, even on expert difficulty, it's not going to bump the difficulty up that much that we wouldn't dominate this race. We may not lap the field a bunch like we are right now, but I don't see why we wouldn't have the fastest car. Obviously, though, with the scoring issues with this game currently, if we run into that kind of an issue, if we're on the lead lap with green flag pit stops going forward, that could end up being an issue as well. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess, how it's going to play itself out. You know, with going on to win this race, I think I'm going to try expert difficulty for the Bristol night race. Just because we'll be locked into the next round of the playoffs. Why not? You know, just try it out on a 750 oval, which I've not done yet. And I haven't even raced at Bristol yet either, so that would probably be a very difficult task. But we know whatever happens, even if we're DNF, that we're going to be locked into the next round. So I don't think that would be a bad thing whatsoever. Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s rallied back to the 8th place position. At least he's back inside the top 10 now. We're running as high as 4th earlier in the race. Still cycling through green flag pit stops at lap 343. We have not seen a caution yet. Still sitting on 3 on the day total. 5 laps to go at Richmond. Schneider continues to lead. This dominated performance from the 48 in his first ever playoff appearance for his rookie season will advance to the round of 12 with a win. And he'll have a teammate to go along with him, so maybe he'll have a little bit of drafting help perhaps at Talladega in that second race of the round. I've not raced at Bristol on the concrete Bristol on this game. Obviously ran dirt Bristol earlier in the career mode, also in the custom schedule season. But got eliminated from the playoffs in the custom schedule season before I even made it to concrete Bristol, because that was in the round of 8, and we got eliminated in the round of 12 there. So it'll be the first trip. It will be on expert difficulty, but we will have stability help on, and This is going to be very interesting. It'll be a fun race to watch, so we'll still live stream it. But there will be no pressure on us to perform, to say the least. Obviously, if we win, we get 5 more playoff points, which would be huge, and that would also be career win and win number 10 on the season, as Schneider can end up winning at Bristol because he's only 2 laps away from winning this one here today. 3 cautions. This will also be a 168 lap green flag run to the finish. We did not have a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops that last time. So it's been a long way since the last yellow. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. I don't even think Schneider's going to catch another lap car in this final lap either. It is smooth sailing to the end. Dominating performance. Checkered flag in the air. Career win number 9. Season win number 9. In the rookie campaign for Keegan Schneider, his championship hopes will live on another round. Take a look at the unofficial results to today's race. A 24-lap lead on the field. I think they still have to finish, so it looks like it'll be a 23-lap lead on the field. That is unbelievable. They probably lost. I would imagine they lost 2 laps during the 1 to 2 laps during the 3 cautions that we had today. Plus, they pitted before us, so we gained 1 to 2 laps before there. So we probably did still win by about 8 to 12 laps on these drivers, but not 23. That's definitely fluctuated a little bit. But either way, Schneider dominated. He deserved the win. Kevin Harvick finishes 2nd. A great day for Hendrick Motorsports. 3rd and 4th with William Byron and Chase Elliott. Martin Truex Jr. back-to-back top 5s to start his playoffs as he finishes 5th. Joey Logano finishes 6th. Matt DiBenedetto with a great bounce-back run, finishing 7th. And actually, he finished 10th at Darlington. So 2 top 10s for Matty D to start the playoffs as well. Ryan Blaney finishes 8th. Ricky Stenhouse had a great day, finishing 9th, and Kyle Larson rounds out the top 10. Other playoff drivers outside the top 10 would include Tyler Reddick in 11th, Kurt Busch in 12th, Christopher Bell in 13th, Kyle Busch in 15th, Austin Dillon 17th. Dillon had a great run early on, but couldn't capitalize, had to make that unscheduled stop earlier in the race, and that ended up costing him. Other playoff drivers would include Corey LaJoie in 28th. And then Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski rounding out the field 39th and 40th. Unfortunately, they both DNF'd today, and they may be below the cutoff line going into Bristol. But now we get to look upon victory lane. Keegan Schneider is there for the 9th time in his young career. I plan on doing 4 seasons of the career mode total. I know we're only in season 1. The game's been out for a few months already, but we'll be pumping out obviously more and more along the actual 2022 NASCAR season, so that way we have the current drivers, or at least more up-to-date drivers, while the actual season's going on. It'll be a little bit easier to follow. But there he is. What a win. And I'm still excited. I know I dominated, but I'm excited to get to the checkered flag. And excited to see what happens in the rounds going forward, because it's going to be interesting to watch, of course. We'll take a look at the point standings moving on into the cutoff race at Bristol. Martin Truex Jr. sitting obviously pretty comfortably above the cutoff line. Corey LaJoie only 1 point behind Keselowski right now. Obviously, LaJoie not in great equipment, so he has not had 2 good races to start the round, but he is only 1 point behind Keselowski, with Keselowski DNFing. Denny Hamlin with his DNF is well below the cutoff line. So he did not have a great run at Darlington, nor a great run today, only scoring 1 point with a 39th place finish. And Denny Hamlin, who finished 2nd in the regular season point standings and came into this playoffs as the number 3 seed, is not looking good. He is 3 points below the cutoff line. Obviously, Bristol's a great track for him. He's won the Bristol night race multiple times. I think he could perform well there. Obviously, he performed well at Richmond for the first 100 laps until he ended up having his issues and had some heavy damage on the race car. I'm not sure, again, if he was involved in an accident or not, but he had some heavy damage, and he ended up not making it to the end. So problems there. His teammate, Christopher Bell, also below the cutoff line, only 2 points below the cutoff line. Austin Dillon, 2 points below the cutoff line. So it is very tight. I mean, look at this. Keselowski, 1 point above. Tyler Reddick is now above with a great performance, a top 10 today, but he's only above by 7 points. Kyle Busch is only ahead by 12 points. Joey Logano is only ahead by 16 points. So 16 points separate 9th through 13th. And better yet, 9th through 16th is only separated by 18 points into the cutoff race at Bristol. It is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We'll have the graphics on the screen there. I did not have them on the screen for the premiere, but we will have the graphics back on the screen for the point situation going into the race. Of course, no stages or anything going into tomorrow night's race. So that's it there. Let's check the legacy leaderboard real quick. Means I got that win. See if I moved up at all. I think I may have. Career win number 927. Only one behind LaJoy. Honestly, we get another win, we will move ahead of LaJoy with ease. Obviously, he's got a lot more starts than us. 157 compared to 28. But honestly, I do feel confident. I mean, 4 seasons is not going to be enough to climb way up the legacy leaderboard. If we could somehow get in the top 10, that'd be awesome. I don't even think that's possible. I mean, you look at we haven't been consistent either. You know, maybe if we finish higher in the regular season standings, that would help us. Obviously, more top 10s, more top 5s would probably help us. We do have 11 top 10s on the year. It's not bad, but considering, you know, we have 9 wins, not great. Definitely no consistency, but I will say 9 wins. We still have more DNFs than wins this season. I had 9 DNFs in the regular season, DNF'd at Darlington, so we got 10 DNFs and 9 wins right now. So let's try to tie that at Bristol, hopefully. Obviously, Bristol's a track I definitely want to win at. That's going to be it here for this premiere. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Live stream coming up immediately following the finish of this one at the top of the hour for NASCAR 05 Chase for the Cup Truck Series Racing. Late in the season there, good championship battle between our driver Bobby Hamilton and Carl Edwards. Thanks for watching. See you then, and I'll see you next time.